This video is going to be a comprehensive guide on how to choose the right print-on-demand company for you. Let's do it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day and a phenomenal week. I want to welcome you back to the channel, and if you're brand new here, I want to say, hey, my name's Kerry. I'm the founder of Shirt School, and I created this channel to bring you the best strategies, secrets, and hacks to grow your online t-shirt, apparel, or print-on-demand business. The question of the day: how do you choose the right print-on-demand provider for you and your business? This is especially important if you're starting a brand new print-on-demand store, but it's also important if you're considering switching print-on-demand providers. What should you be looking out for? So in this video, I want to give you 5 main categories, 5 things that you should definitely pay attention to with your potential new company that you're going to work with. I think these are the 5 most important things, and so let's dive in. The number one thing, and I think number 1 and 2 are tied, they're both number 1, but the number 1 thing on my list is price. You should be obviously looking at the price of these print-on-demand providers so that you know how much margin you have in your products. And I will tell you from experience that the pricing across print-on-demand providers can be drastically different. Now, one of the highest priced print-on-demand providers in the game is Printful, of course. Now, they're the biggest print-on-demand provider, but their prices can be wild. If we look at something like t-shirts, some of these t-shirts, you know, a lot of people use Printful and they don't know how high these prices are. If we look at, you know, a standard tee like the Bell & Canvas 3001, they've got it at $12.95. Well, you know, with a lot of print-on-demand providers, you could be saving $2, $3 per shirt or more. And I think across the Printful catalog, that is pretty true with most of their products, is that they are priced a little bit higher. And so again, pricing is the top thing, or one of the top things to consider when you are when you're choosing a print-on-demand company, because you need that margin to have profits in your business. So my big tip here with price would be to look at some of these different print-on-demand providers, look at the products you want to sell and compare that pricing. Now, it's not always the greatest idea to go with the lowest pricing. There are other things to consider. So a lot of times you'll want to pick one that's maybe in the middle or maybe towards the bottom, but not the lowest, depending on some of the other factors we're going to cover in this video. The second thing to consider, and maybe just as important as price, is the quality. Now, I want to tell you again that in working with and reviewing tons of print-on-demand providers over the last 5 years, I have seen that the quality of print can be drastically different. You can get a t-shirt, or any product for that matter, but specifically apparel. You can get a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, or hoodie that has very dull colors, has imperfections and, you know, quality control issues that, you know, fades in the wash on the first time. There are some bad print-on-demand companies out there, or there are companies that are letting things slip through the cracks. And then on the other hand, you can have a company that has extremely high quality, high attention to detail that you can trust. And so this is something that I think you should heavily consider when choosing a print-on-demand provider. So what do? Well, in my opinion, I would order 2 to 3 samples before deciding to go with a print-on-demand provider. Now, in the past, I've told students, hey, this is not something that I would worry about as much, that kind of thing. And although I agree somewhat with that stance, I do think at this stage, based off what I've seen over the last few years, that if I was starting from scratch and picking a brand new print-on-demand provider, I would definitely order a couple samples. Sure, it's going to cost you $30, $40, but I think that is a worthwhile investment into your business to see what kind of quality you're going to get. Now, the reason I say to order maybe 2 or 3 samples of the print is because that's going to give you 3 examples of what the quality is like. If you just order 1, you know, that next one might be really bad or really good. And so getting, you know, 2 or 3 in your hands lets you see, like, hey, each order that my customer makes, and if I'm selling a bunch, like, are they going to be consistent from order to order? And so that's an important thing. So I think quality is definitely important. Another just quick tip about quality is to read the reviews. Can I help you start and launch your online apparel business? And can I teach you the Shirt School system that's helped thousands of people since 2019 start, grow, and scale profitable online apparel businesses? If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you, we have a free 60-minute masterclass over at shirtschool.com that you can watch, where I'll break down the entire Shirt School system, and I'll give you an opportunity to become a part of our Shirt School program and learn from myself and my team. Go check it out. If you go into the Shopify app store and you search print on demand, you're going to see there's 387 results. There are a lot of print on demand companies. And one thing that you can do when you're trying to figure out, are they going to be good at this or good at that, is you can just click any of these print on demand providers. Let's click on Fuel, not to single them out, not saying they're bad or good, but let's go down and see what the reviews say. So we can go here and we can look at the reviews. This first one says, I have several clients complaining about plastic vinyl designs. What happened to DTG, right? And we can start to see like, oh, there's some good reviews, right? So maybe it is good, but we can see what people are complaining about. And I want to be clear, there's going to be, bad reviews on every print on demand provider, but what are the things that people are saying? Are they complaining about the same thing over and over, or are they mentioning different things? And so you can kind of see what the quality is going to be like and what other experiences have been like. The number 3 thing to consider is product selection. So a tip that I have for you when it comes to product selection is, even if you're starting out with one type of product, so let's say it's t-shirts, you may want to expand later. And so I think it's important when you're starting to think about what potential products would you want to sell later on down the line. Thinking about those things up front will allow you to grow with a print-on-demand provider. And in my opinion, having one print-on-demand provider is the best option as opposed to having a bunch. So I think it's important when you're starting to really think through what potential products will you want to sell. And you might be thinking like, doesn't every print-on-demand provider do t-shirts or et cetera or whatever? And most print-on-demand providers will do t-shirts, but they may also specialize in one type of product. And so their t-shirts may be secondary. And so I have reviewed companies over the years that, I'll get a t-shirt when t-shirts is not really their thing. They really specialize in something else. One example of that is on my screen right now. It's called Shine On. Shine On is a really popular print-on-demand company right now. And they've been growing like wildfire over the last couple of years because they specialize in this kind of custom jewelry where you can print on the box and you can sell these in your store with print on demand, but you can put your own wording on the box there. And they have tons of other kinds of products. Like we can go to, other things, but look at this, dog tags, all this kind of stuff. This is what they specialize in. So if you go with Shine On, understand that Shine On's probably not going to be your t-shirt provider. So that's something you have to think of. Now, you can have multiple print-on-demands in one store, but I think the best route is to pick a print-on-demand provider that has all the potential products that you'll want to sell. The other thing just to think about is that some print-on-demand providers are going to have smaller catalogs and some are going to have bigger catalogs. If we look at a company like SPOD has a decent sized catalog, but it's not massive. It's not the biggest catalog. It's the same thing with Awkward Styles. We talk about Awkward Styles a lot, and they have amazing products, 150 plus products, and they're adding new products all the time. But their product selection is not like the biggest ever. So if there are products you want to sell that they don't offer, you might consider going with someone else. If we look at Printful, which is the biggest print-on-demand provider, they have hundreds and hundreds of, wild stuff. When we go to like accessories, we go to home and living. They have a ton of crazy stuff. We can go to like backpacks right here. They have jewelry. They have all that kind of stuff. It's pretty wild. You can do an Adidas backpack and print on that. So print-on-demand providers, as far as their product selection, it's going to be vast and it's going to vary. So you need to consider, do they specialize in a certain thing? You need to consider how big their product selection or how small it is. Now, on the other hand, it's not always a bad thing to go with a print-on-demand provider that has a small product selection. Because a lot of times if they are specialized like that, in the case of Shine On, for instance, they're probably going to have higher quality products. So as an example, if I wanted to do custom jewelry and go picking between Shine On or Printful, well, there's a chance that Shine On probably is going to make better custom jewelry and better products than Printful, because Printful's got this massive catalog of other things, and that may not necessarily be their focus. It's like if you're going to buy specialty coffee. Well, you can go to Walmart and you can probably get a bunch of different brands, but the likelihood is that you're going to have way higher quality at a local coffee shop or a Starbucks or something like that, way higher quality coffee because they specialize in it. So a lot of times you get higher quality stuff if you go with a specialized print-on-demand provider. One example of that is this company called Tscape. I've talked about Tscape with my students, and I've talked about Tscape with, maybe here on the channel a little bit, but I've used them for years for t-shirts. They have a super small product selection. They have a website that looks like it's from like 1997, but they're awesome. They consistently ship products out on time. They consistently have good quality, and they consistently have really good customer service. And so even though they have a small product selection, if you really want to sell t-shirts, you're going to have a good experience with this company. So there is something to be said about that small catalog and really specializing in a certain area. The number 4 thing to consider is app ease of use. When you sign up with a print-on-demand company, they're going to have software. They're going to have an app that maybe plugs into Shopify or Woocommerce or Etsy and these kind of things, right? And so one thing that I think gets overlooked all the time is how good is the app? How easy is it to use? Are there bugs in it and that kind of thing? Does it often have glitches? That's something to consider. Now, it can be a little bit harder to know if the app is good unless you actually try it for yourself. And in my experience, again, reviewing a ton of print-on-demand companies, I have seen some really bad apps and some really good apps. And so I think this is something you should consider. I've got Custom Cat pulled up here, and this is inside their app. And so what I would recommend that you do is that you specifically look at the products category and you look at the orders category. So if we go to orders, we can see like what kind of the dashboard looks like here with our different orders. So if you go here to the add products section inside Custom Cat, pick a product, put your design on it, you can go through the product creation flow and you can see what that experience is like. Is it easy? Do they have a lot of options? Is it loading fast? Is it loading slow? Those are things to think about when it comes to the app. Now, I put the app in the top 5 things to consider. I know for some people you might be like, it doesn't matter, but I'm telling you it does matter because there are other companies out there I've reviewed on the channel. One of those, and not to dog on any of these companies, I love all these companies, but one of those is AppLeak. AppLeak is a really cool print-on-demand company. They have such cool products. I mean, some things that you'll see in their product selection that you really don't see anywhere else are, custom embroidery on all kinds of different products. And they have really unique products. You see here, like eco-friendly. They probably have the biggest eco-friendly selection that I've seen. They just have really, really cool stuff. And it's a company I really like. So this is not to dog on them, but their app needs a lot of help. It is very hard to navigate around and actually put in orders and figure out how to automate things. And so for the average user, like me and you, who's maybe not that tech savvy or maybe has trouble with those kind of things, we need it to be super simple. And so I had trouble with the AppLeak app. And so I see both ends of the spectrum when you have a really, really good app and a really bad app and what difference that can make. Another quick example of that is I recently reviewed a company called WC Fulfillment, and there were a lot of bugs in the app. And so the app was not loading and it kept throwing an error. I tried it on a different computer. I tried it in an incognito tab and I could not get it to work. And then all of a sudden, like an hour later, it just came back to life. And it just, things like that, right? Things like that. So testing out the app, going through the product creation flow, super important and I think underrated when it comes to considering what print on demand to use. The 5th and final thing you should consider is shipping, both shipping price and shipping time. Now, shipping price is pretty standard across print-on-demand providers. It's not going to be identical, but I would say most print-on-demand providers are going to be in the $4 to $5 per item range. So, if you sell a t-shirt, it's going to be around that $4 to $5 mark. I would encourage you to do your research on the print-on-demands that you are considering, see what their shipping charges are. But the other thing that I want to spend a little bit more time on is the shipping time. How long is it going to take for your product to get to your customer after a purchase is made? This is really, really important because again, you see it vary from anywhere from 72 hours up to 14, 21 days with different print-on-demand providers in my experience. And so that can be very important. So what I would do is go to their website and see what they're promising. So I've got SPOD pulled up here again. SPOD is one of the faster print-on-demand providers. And you see here, right here on their shipping page, they say inside of 48 hours for 95% of orders. One of the quickest turnaround times in the industry. What that means is when your customer makes an order on your website, that order is going to be printed and it's going to leave the SPOD warehouse inside of 48 hours, in under 48 hours. That's freaking awesome, right? And that's what you want to be looking for when you're considering a print-on-demand provider. I wouldn't expect every print-on-demand provider to have like 48-hour turnaround, but you don't want it to be like 7, 10, 14 days. That's going to be a problem when it comes to your customers. Another thing to just double check is what shipping carrier are they using? Are they using USPS? Are they using UPS? Are they using FedEx? My preference is USPS directly because it gets most places within the United States within 1 to 3 days. Some print-on-demand providers that I've reviewed, and again, down in the description, we'll leave a link to the whole playlist of all the print-on-demand reviews, so you can watch my reviews if you'd like. But one of the things I've seen is that a lot of print-on-demand providers are using a UPS and USPS partner service where UPS has to hand off the package to USPS before it goes to your customer wherever they're located. And that adds 1 to 2 days on if they're using that service. I think it's a little bit cheaper for the print-on-demand provider. They get a deal on that service. So, that's probably why they use it. But I like USPS directly because it is, so the postal service, because it's the cheapest option normally and it gets there the quickest, usually 1 to 3 days. So those are things to consider. How much are they charging? Is it inside that $4 to $5 per item range? Unless it's like a hoodie or a sweatshirt, which can go up to $7, $8, that's normal. But for a t-shirt specifically, because that's kind of the benchmark, $4 to $5 should be what you should be looking for as far as shipping cost. And shipping time, is it leaving the warehouse in under, I'd say 72 hours? That's what you need to be looking for. It's going to get to your customer in 5 to 7 business days, somewhere in that range. I think that's reasonable and acceptable, and that's what I would be looking at. I want to give one honorable mention for this video, and that is customer service with your print-on-demand provider. This can be another important thing to look at, but I didn't put it in my top 5 just because I think it's very rare that you'll have those customer service issues. In my experience, it is. Now, when you have one, obviously you want to be able to get a hold of that company quickly. So it can be important, but it's not a make or break thing for me personally. So I do think it's something to consider. If they talk about their customer service on their website, it's something to take note of. But because everything is so automated now with orders and different things like that, it's not something that I have to utilize a ton, but when I do, it is important. So that's something to look at. And that would be my honorable mention, would be, how is their customer service? If you enjoyed this video today and you got value, please return the favor to me by just tapping that like button and also subscribing to the channel. We put out new videos every single week, and we'd love for you to become a part of the family. And in fact, I was shocked to find out that almost 9 out of 10 people watching this right now are not subscribed to the channel. Almost 90%, 87% of you watching are not subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button. It greatly helps us out in trying to grow and bring this information to people who need it. See you soon.